I have some very serious concerns about many aspects of the overall performance of Bedfordshire Police. In view of this, I've been in regular contact with the Chief Constable about the improvements that are needed. I continue to be very concerned that the people of Bedfordshire are not being well served by their police force. The force has struggled to balance the need to protect the most vulnerable with maintaining a preventative policing presence throughout the county. I'm disappointed that despite repeated assurances that it would do so, beyond isolated pockets of good practice, the force has still not put in place effective and consistent preventative community policing across the force area. Bedfordshire Police still does not have enough police officers and police community support officers to provide effective engagement with local people or visible targeted foot patrols. The force doesn't work consistently with partner organisations, has yet to adopt a consistent problem-solving approach, and is not able to make interventions that prevent crime and antisocial behaviour from happening in the first place. Since our inspection, I'm encouraged by the further steps the force is taking to address our specific concerns, but it will take over a year for the plans to come to fruition. This is just too long. On a more positive note, Bedfordshire Police has made commendable progress in protecting some vulnerable members of the community, and it's invested significant additional resources in this area, but unfortunately there are still some serious weaknesses. The force has a better understanding of the nature and scale of vulnerability and sexual exploitation in particular, and I particularly commend the force for its hard work and commitment to improve its response to support victims of domestic abuse. But despite this progress, there are still disturbing weaknesses in the force's approach to missing children. The process of assessing calls about missing children is poor, and review of initial risk assessments are inconsistent. As a result, too often some children and young people are still being exposed to potential risk of harm. The force is good at protecting the public from the most prolific and serious offenders. In particular, we found good examples of Bedfordshire Police focusing on preventing some of the most dangerous offenders from continuing with a life of crime. But despite these positives, its overall approach to investing crime and reducing reoffending is lacking. I'm disappointed that since last year there's been a deterioration in the supervision and handover of investigations to specialist teams, largely due to a higher proportion of inexperienced officers and supervisors. Bedfordshire Police also needs to improve its approach to tackling serious and organised crime. The force doesn't have a clear understanding of the threat posed by these high-end and dangerous criminals. Until it does, it won't be in a place to tackle them effectively. However, once the force has identified organised crime groups, it does use good plans to manage them, and the force carries out some positive work with schools and universities to identify young people who may be at risk of being drawn into serious organised crime early on. I'm reassured that Bedfordshire Police has made some prudent assumptions about its future finances, and it recognises that it faces further risks and uncertainties. But while recognising that Bedfordshire Police has low levels of funding compared to other forces, it does need to do more to match its limited resources to the challenging demands that it faces, especially since the volume and complexity of crimes it deals with in some areas, for example Luton, are challenging for any force. I'm concerned that the force's ability to plan for the future is seriously hindered by its limited understanding of the future demand for its services, and consequently its understanding of the knowledge and the skills that the workforce will need. I do commend Bedfordshire Police for its strong commitment to joint working, which is demonstrated by its mature and well-established collaborative work with Hertfordshire and Cambridgeshire constabularies. While the three forces can demonstrate that joint working is improving services to the public, they don't yet have a comprehensive understanding of the financial benefits that this brings. The Triforce Futures team has undertaken research to explore options for effective policing in the future, and I look forward to seeing the outcome of this work and the details of how the workforce will be equipped with the knowledge and skills needed to meet the likely future demands. I'm reassured that the force is good at seeking and acting on feedback to improve how it treats the people that it serves. For example, it involves a panel of independent members of the public in reviewing body-worn camera video footage of incidents where the force has undertaken stop and search. I'm concerned about the force's ability to identify, monitor and understand risks to the integrity of the organisation, including staff corruption. Its scope to do so is limited by the capacity and capability in the relevant unit, which is shared with Hertfordshire and Cambridgeshire constabularies.